Welcome back to the Friday Five from March 29th, 2024. My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm an estate planning and business law attorney with offices in Edina, Minnesota, and New York City. But let's dive back in and take a look at 5 quick questions that came up this week. Maybe these are questions you've had before. Question number 1 this week. What happens if I have a dispute with my home renovation contractor? I actually had 3 different calls about this week. Different people having different issues with their contractor, and the question is, when you have that dispute, what is the next step? As with any kind of contractual relationship, the place you need to start is to look at the contract. Sometimes the contractor will actually provide you with a proposal, which serves as your contract that you sign off on, and it gives you what needs to be done. And what we're looking at in these contracts or proposals is going to be the dispute resolution clause. What does it say happens when the two of you have a dispute over the contract? And when you're dealing with licensed contractors, you also want to consider your local consumer affairs board or other similar organization, because oftentimes these contractors are licensed, and there's a separate process for you to work with the licensing board so that if you have this dispute, you can get to the bottom of it with them without necessarily having to go to court. You can actually work it out often through a mediation process. Question 2 this week, can I invest in a property with my family members without creating an LLC? So the simple answer to this is yes, you can. This is a very common question I get, whether we're investing with other people or whether we're doing it ourselves and we're buying a property. And if you've seen enough of my content online and you've seen other blogs, you'll see a lot of people say that whenever we get a rental property, we want to put it into an LLC. It's usually a good idea to do it this way, but you have to remember there's certain steps you have to follow. If we're going to be buying a property as part of a family investment and we're going to need to take on financing, this is going to show the importance of working with other professionals beyond just a lawyer to make sure you understand what that financing looks like. I encourage you to reach out to a mortgage professional or another lender, reach to a bank, and find out what it would take for you to secure financing. And in that process of securing that financing, they can tell you whether or not they would agree that the property can be put in the LLC, or maybe they're going to require that it be in your individual names because there's going to be a set of you that are going to be on that mortgage and liable for those payments. Question 3 this week, can we do pre-lawsuit mediation? So I have a couple different clients where we're trying to work out a dispute between them and another party, and we're getting close to the cusp of where a litigation might have to be filed. There might be a lawsuit, there might not be a lawsuit. And a pretty common question I get is, do we have to go through with the lawsuit or can we actually go to mediation? So these cases are all in Minnesota. And in Minnesota, although mediation will often be a part of your lawsuit, you can also do it before that lawsuit is filed. So if you and the other party think that you're close to creating some kind of an agreement, you're almost there, but you can't quite get over that finish line, and maybe a third party, somebody independent can help you get those issues resolved, pre-litigation mediation can be a great way to get things resolved. And the mediator is going to try to get you to come to a settlement and will hopefully even have something written up for you to sign so that they won't let you just come in and spend a day with them and then walk away and have everybody reconsider. So if you're considering a mediator, you don't have to wait for a lawsuit to be filed. You can do mediation before lawsuits. Question 4 this week, who makes a decision when there are 2 trustees? So in this case, the client has a trust and is named one trustee and a second trustee. I haven't actually seen the trust yet, but one of the trustees contacted me and said, I know I'm a trustee and my brother is the other trustee, and I'm not sure who should be making the decisions, or is it me or is it jointly? And like many other issues we deal with in law, the simple answer is look at the document. So in this case, look at the trust and see how the trustees are defined and what their roles are. If you have 2 trustees in a succession, it may say that trustee number 1, but if they're not available, then trustee number 2, in which case trustee number 1 is able to act alone or engage in actions for the trust without needing to talk to trustee number 2. Another scenario may be trustee 1 and 2 are serving together, and then we have provisions that say what happens when decisions have to be made. Some decisions can be made by one trustee, some require both of them, and what happens if the 2 trustees can't agree on making a decision. So as with many of these issues in law, what we want to start with is the trust and see what it says, and that'll tell you who makes those decisions if there's 2 trustees, whether it's a succession or whether they're supposed to act jointly. Question 5 this week, will my trust help me avoid taxes? I've gotten this question a lot recently. We're coming up on tax season, and people think that if I just move some money into a trust, it'll avoid taxes. Unfortunately, the simple answer is no, most trusts do not help you avoid taxes. Now, there may be some kinds of trusts, usually more advanced planning, where you can use it to reduce your tax load. And one of those things could be transferring assets into the trust where you no longer control them. They're not really your assets. You can't then go back in and change it. It's called an irrevocable trust. So there may be situations where you are able to use some trust planning to help lighten your load when it comes to taxes. But as a general principle, just putting something into your general living trust is not going to help you avoid taxes. So those are our 5 questions for the week. If you like this video, you can hit the like or the thumbs up button below. You can subscribe for future episodes on YouTube. You can submit a question for future episodes at the link below. You can always go to 𝙁𝙊𝙊𝙒.com to schedule a legal strategy session. And I hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.